In today's video, I'm turning GTA San Andreas into a full remastered experience using mods. Better graphics, modern features, deeper NPC behavior, new cities, and way more immersion. Every mod I use will be linked below so you can try this yourself. Alright, let's start the transformation. The first thing that absolutely needed fixing was the world itself. GTA San Andreas is massive, but if you look closely, a lot of it feels empty and flat. The roads look blurry, the environment lacks detail, and the world doesn't feel alive anymore. So the very first upgrade I went with was 4K road textures. As soon as you install this mod, the difference is obvious. The roads no longer look like stretched out JPGs from 2004. You start seeing cracks, dirt, wear, and realistic asphalt patterns. Suddenly, driving through Los Santos feels way more immersive, especially at high speeds. But better roads alone don't fix the problem. Even with improved textures, the world still felt empty. That's because vanilla San Andreas barely has any environmental props. Streets feel wide, but lifeless. So to fix that, I installed Project Props. This mod completely fills the world with realistic objects. Trash bags, dumpsters, cardboard boxes, cones, barriers, street clutter, and all the small details that modern open world games rely on. After installing this, the city instantly feels more dense and believable. Walking down an alley actually feels like walking through a real city instead of a movie set. Next up was vegetation, because let's be honest, the trees and plants in San Andreas look rough. Most of them are just flat 2D textures pretending to be plants. That might have been fine back in the day, but now it completely kills immersion. So I installed Behind Space of Reality's 5-star vegetation mod. This replaces almost all plants, trees, bushes, and grass with realistic 3D vegetation. Forests finally feel like forests. Countryside areas actually feel wild. Now that the world looked better, it was time to fix how the game actually feels to play. One of the biggest immersion breakers in San Andreas is the lack of a first-person mode. Everything is third-person, and gunfights can feel dated, so I added a first-person mod. This alone changes the entire vibe of the game. Gunfights suddenly feel intense, shooting feels personal. Walking through interiors in first-person makes the game feel way more modern, almost like a Rockstar FPS. Speaking of interiors, San Andreas has a huge open world, but most buildings are fake. You see doors everywhere, but you can't enter them. That's frustrating. So I installed the Enterable Interiors mod, and this is one of the biggest game changers in the entire setup. Nearly 90% of buildings become enterable. Apartments, offices, shops. Some even have NPCs living inside. You can walk into random buildings and just explore. This alone makes the city feel alive in a way the original game never did. After hours of testing, one thing became very clear. The HUD was killing the modern feel. The old health bar, weapon icons, and minimap are iconic, but they scream early 2000s. So I installed a GTA 5-style HUD. The minimap gets a clean modern design, the weapon wheel feels smoother, and overall the interface just looks way more polished. It's a small change, but it makes a huge difference. Now comes the most important part of any remaster, graphics. All the texture mods and props in the world don't matter if lighting still looks flat, so I installed DirectX 3.0 graphics mod. This completely transforms the game. We get realistic lighting, proper shadows, reflections on vehicles, better night lighting, and overall cinematic visuals. At this point, San Andreas genuinely starts looking like a modern game. Sunsets look insane, nighttime city lights pop, rain actually feels atmospheric, but visuals aren't everything. Animations in San Andreas are stiff and outdated. Running, walking, fighting, it all looks robotic. So I installed an improved animation mod. This smooths out movement, updates combat animations, and makes characters feel more natural. On top of that, I added a ragdoll physics mod. Now when characters fall, get hit, or crash, they react realistically instead of snapping into weird preset animation. This alone makes action scenes feel next level. Then there's sound. GTA San Andreas feels strangely quiet at times. Beaches don't sound like beaches, forests don't sound alive, so I installed an ambient sound mod that adds location-based audio. Waves crash near the ocean.
It's okay.
Birds and wind fill the forest. You don't realize how important sound design is until it's done right. NPC behavior was another massive issue. In vanilla San Andreas, NPCs barely do anything. They walk, drive, repeat. So I installed the Urbanize mod, and this completely changes NPC life. Now you'll see people playing basketball, dancing, fixing cars, working construction jobs. The city feels alive. It finally feels like an actual populated world. Vehicle crashes were next. San Andreas crashes feel weightless, so I added a vehicle deformation mod inspired by GTA 4. Now crashes actually dent cars, break parts, and feel impactful. Driving suddenly feels risky, not arcade style. Then I fixed taxis. In the original game, you can't actually ride taxis as a passenger. That's wild for a GTA game, so I installed a taxi ride mod. Now you can mark a destination and actually ride as a passenger. It's perfect for roleplay and immersion. Vehicles themselves also needed an upgrade. The original cars are fictional and outdated, so I installed a mega vehicle pack that replaces most vehicles with real brands: Mercedes, BMW, Lamborghini, Ferrari, and more. Driving feels premium now. To make it even more realistic, I added a fuel system. Cars now run out of gas. You actually have to stop at gas stations and pay to refuel. Small detail, huge immersion boost. To keep gameplay fresh, I added random events. You'll now encounter side missions organically. Robberies, people asking for help, chases, crimes in progress. This adds replay value and makes free roam way more engaging. CJ himself also needed an upgrade. His textures were rough, so I installed high-resolution character and clothing mods. CJ finally looks detailed and modern instead of blurry. Finally, I went all out with map expansion. I installed GTA Mixed, which adds Liberty City and Vice City directly into San Andreas. These cities are connected via bridges, effectively doubling the map size. You can freely travel between cities, explore new areas, and even do missions in some of them. At this point, San Andreas becomes a multi-city open world monster. After installing all these mods, GTA San Andreas no longer feels like a classic. It feels like a full remaster. Everything that was missing is now here. Everything outdated has been upgraded. This is the definitive way to play GTA San Andreas in 2026. So now I want to know, which mod impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive remaster, hit that like button, subscribe for more GTA content, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, thanks for watching.